In the next set of 10 problems, we're told to evaluate each expression for the given values. So number 21 has 4ab plus b squared, and we're given a as negative 2 and b as 3. So recall that when you substitute values in, you're always going to use parentheses. So 4a, and the value for a is negative 2, and b, and the value for b is 3, and then plus b squared, so plus 3 squared. So now we've got to multiply all this together and then square this guy. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, times 3 is negative 24, and then 3 squared is plus 9. So we have negative 24 plus 9, which is going to be a negative 15. And that's the answer for number 21. Okay, as we slide down, number 22 is m squared minus n plus 3m. And we're going to do m is negative 3 and n is 5. So my value for m is negative 3. I'm going to put that in there and square it. My value for n is 5, and then plus 3 times negative 3. So we're going to multiply here and square here. So the negative 3, since the negative is in the parentheses, we're also squaring the negative. So that'll be 9 minus 5. And then 3 times a negative 3 is a negative 9. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Minus 9 is a negative 5. So the answer for number 22 is a negative 5. In number 23, we have negative 6RT plus T times the quantity R plus 1, as long as R is negative 4 here and T is 2/3. So we're going to negative 6 times R, which is negative 4, times T, which is 2/3, plus this 2/3 again that's going to come out outside these parentheses, and R is negative 4 plus 1. Okay, so the set here we're multiplying, and then we're going to do what's in the parentheses here first, and then multiply it by 2/3. So negative 6 times negative 4 is positive 24, and then 24 over 1 you could say times 2/3. Well, I see I have some stuff that's going to cancel, and 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 2/3 times negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3, but I can put that over 1 if you like, since we have fractions going on here. My 3's are going to cancel. I'm left with 2 and a negative 1. So 2 times negative 1 is going to be a negative 2, and 16 minus 2 will be 14. So the answer to number 23 is 14. In number 24, I have x times y, and that's all divided by x plus 2y. So my values for x are 4, and my value for b is negative 6. Oh, and by b I mean y, actually. So let's change that to a y. And when you're working this out, your worksheet will also need to be changed. So y is negative 6. So anyway, x and y, x is 4, y is negative 6, all over x, which is 4, plus 2y. So we have it just like this. So 4 times negative 6 is negative 24 over 4, and then 2 times negative 6 is a negative 12. So I'm going to come down here. Negative 24 on top, 4 minus 12 is negative 8 on bottom, and a negative are going to cancel out, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So the value for that guy is 3. Number 25, we have pq squared plus p squared q. And we've got fractions here. So p is going to be a negative 1/2, and q is going to be 3/4, and that's going to be squared, plus my negative 1/2 squared times q, which is 3/4. Okay, let's do the exponent here and exponent here. And remember, when we're squaring a fraction, it's just the numerator squared and the denominator squared. So it'll be 3 squared is 9 over 4 squared, which is 16. Okay, same over here. It'll be a negative 1 squared and a 2 squared, so it'll be 1 over 4 times 3 over 4. So all I've done, I squared this thing, and I squared this thing, and everything else got brought down. Okay, so we're multiplying this business. Negative 1 times 9 is a negative 9 over 2 times 16, which is 32. And we're going to add 1 times 3, which is 3, and 4 times 4, which is 16. So we have some fractions to put together, and we do not have like denominators, so we need to get like denominators. And it looks like 16 times 2 is 32, so we can use 32 as our common denominators here. So 16 times 2 and 3 times 2, and that negative 9 doesn't get changed because the denominator didn't get changed. So negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3 all over 32, and that's the answer for number 25. Moving on, we have number 26, and it is 0.75a squared minus 0.6b. And my value for a is negative 2, and my value for b is 5. So it's 0.75 times negative 2 squared and minus 0.6 times 5. So we're going to work through here now. We're going to do the exponent. Negative 2 squared is actually going to be 4, and a positive 4 because the negative is also being squared. And then let's go ahead and do this multiplication. 0.6 times 5 is going to be 3. So, and we need to do 0.75 times 4, and 0.75 times 4 is also 3. So 3 minus 3 is going to be 0. So the answer for 26 is 0. In 27, we have JH divided by 3, and that's all times the quantity 1 minus H minus J. And my H is negative 3, and my J is 2. So my J, which is 2, I'll put on top. My H, which is negative 3, I'll put on top, and that's all over 3. And we have parentheses 1 minus H, which is negative 3, minus J, which is 2. Okay, let's go ahead and work some of these things out. 1 minus a negative 3, we're going to change that and make it 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So the inside business is 2. And out here, we can cancel these 3's out. We've got a 3 on top and a 3 on bottom. But we still do have a negative here, so it'll be a negative 2 on the outside. And negative 2 times 2 is going to be negative 4. So the answer for 27 is negative 4. 28, we have 2 minus this quantity here, xy plus 4x. And we're going to use negative 6 for x and 2 for y. So 2 minus, and x is negative 6 times 2 for y, plus 4, and negative 6 for x. So let's work the parentheses inside here. So negative 6 times 2 will be negative 12, and then 4 times negative 6 will be negative 24. So that's all in parentheses still, and we have 2 minus that business. So let's go ahead and finish simplifying that. Negative 12 minus 24 is a negative 36, which is in my parentheses there, and it's 2 minus that. Notice this 2 minus just keeps coming along for the ride until we now are going to use him. When we subtract a negative, it's pluses, so 2 plus 36 will be 38. So the answer to 28 is 38. Okay, let's do 29. I have some more fractions in here. So we have ab squared plus 3/4 times this quantity, a squared plus 2ab, where a is 8 and b is a half. So a is 8, b is a half, and then we've got this business in here. A squared will be 8 squared plus 2ab. So we've got a lot going on in this problem. Let's go ahead and do some squaring business, and we can multiply some of this stuff together. So it'll be 8 times a half squared is a half times a half, or 1 times 1 and 2 times 2, which will be 1/4. And we'll say plus 3/4, and what's inside here? 8 squared is 64. And here we have a half and a 2, so if we really put all these over 1, you'll notice the 2 there and the 2 there can cancel out. So really, I just have 1s and an 8 and a bunch of 1s, so it's really just plus 8 at the back side there. So I'm going to do what's inside my parentheses right here, and I'll go ahead and multiply these two. So if I put 8 over 1 here, I'll notice it become 2. So 2 plus 3/4, and 64 plus 8 is 72. So in order to do 3/4 times 72, put that 72 over 1, I know that 4 can go into there, and it's going to go make a 1. And to divide by 4, I'm going to cut it in half twice. Half of 72 is 36. Half of 36 is 18. So I've got 2 plus, I'll just rewrite this now, 2 plus 3 times 18. And 3 times 18 is going to be 54. So it'll be 2 plus 54. And my final value for number 29 will be 56. So even though there were some fractions and that was kind of long, we still made our way through it. And here's number 30, the last one in this set, is a long one also. We have p's and q's. Our p is 2, our q is negative 2. So we have 2/3 times 7p plus q minus 1/4 p cubed minus q plus 2. Okay, again, lots of stuff going on right here. So let's go ahead and work this guy right here. 7 times 2 is 14. And 14 plus a negative 2 is 12. So it'll be 2/3 times 12. Okay, let's move on to this parentheses set. So 2 cubed is 8. And when we have a minus and negative, we're going to go swoosh, swoosh, and make them plus signs. 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus 2 more is 12. So it happened that both of our parentheses sets ended up being 12, which is nice. So since we're multiplying by fractions, let's put both of our 12s over 1. And a 3 and a 12 can cancel and make 1 and 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And a 4 and a 12 can cancel, 1 and a 3. So 8 minus 3. And our answer for this guy is going to be 5. So that completes those 10 problems.